Hello, everybody, and we're back. This is the second half of Perspectives. Brittany Stokes is our guest, and I'm afraid you were down earlier with COVID. Is that correct?
I was, but I am back and strong and healthy and doing good.
Well, I'm glad you made it through, kid. We're glad to have you here. Brittany is president and CEO of the Tulsa Girls Home, and I got to tell you, you guys do a lot of great work out there. Where are you located?
We are right now in Sapulpa, Oklahoma, and we are actually looking to expand and move to 2 more locations around the Tulsa metro area.
How much of an expansion do you need, Brittany?
Well, I don't know if Tulsa Girls Home will be able to handle the amount of need, but I think, by us being able to build 2 more homes for these girls in foster care, we can make a dent in our community and help, alleviate some of that, and also maybe change some perspective on what these girls in foster care might be facing.
You are in partnership with DHS, aren't you?
Yes, we are. That is, we receive referrals from DHS for girls who are in foster care between the ages 14 and 18.
And let's sort of define the young women, if we could. You care for girls who need to be placed outside the home, and you also provide therapy.
Yeah, so I would like to say that every child, every girl is different and comes into our home or into our care from a different trauma background or different upbringing with different cultural perspectives and things that they love to do. But oftentimes teen girls in foster care or teens in general are more looked at as troubled children because of behaviors that they might display. And we really believe that by getting to know and build relationship and getting to the root of the behavior, the trauma behind the behavior, we can help provide healing and hopefully change the perspective that people think of teens in foster care.
You've said a couple of things that bring to mind some serious questions. First of all, how do you get your hands on these young women? Are they referred to you, sent to you by police? What happens?
Yeah, so often there are not enough foster care homes for teens in foster care. Mm-hmm. And so we work with the Department of Human Services. And so if a child is being pulled from their home, they often, if they're a teenager, go to a shelter. And so we get a call if there is a child who is looking for a long-term placement or is in DHS custody and they cannot place them in a home. They would call Tulsa Girls Home and ask if we have a bed available.
And let's say you do. Is transfer made immediately?
Yes, pretty quickly.
Uh-huh. I would imagine, and again, I if I'm totally off base, feel free to correct me, but I would imagine it takes some getting used to on the child's part, does it not, to come from God knows what into a setting where people seem to genuinely care about you?
Yeah, I think that is the most disturbing thing for a child to feel is safety and security for the first time, because it kind of rocks their entire world. And then it brings an onset of fear to go back to something. So we like to call it fight or flight mode. And oftentimes these children, in order to survive, are in a fight mode to survive. They have to always be aware. They always have to be on guard. Their brains are always on alert. And so the ability for them to process information, the ability for them to learn, the ability for them to heal is truly nearly impossible because they are always on guard. And so then you take them into an environment where they, for the first time, can kind of rest. And that brings a lot of other behaviors because then they start to feel. And feeling is something that they have not done. And when you start to feel and process the things that you've lived through, it starts to really, it has a toll, and it takes a toll on them. And it's a journey, and it's a journey that we want to walk with them, even though it's not easy.
How in the world, I don't even know how to frame this question, so hang with me while I try to sort through the mess in my mind. How in the world do you deal with a child that's come from unimaginable abuse, and get them on the correct path again, or maybe for the first time, and at the same time help get them into an educational process where they can start to climb out of this terrible pit they're in? How do you do that?
So I would say taking it one day at a time, and often taking it's a long game and a long journey. I like to tell the youth, my husband and I, we adopted a young girl at 16, and she had been in foster care for 9 years.
Oh my.
She had also been and endured abuse, and the system failed her. So to go from one abusive situation to a protective abusive situation, it's troubling, and it's hard when you enter in this service field. But every day is a new day, and you may think you're taking 10 steps forward, and then you drive through a drive-through that triggers an emotion because you drove past the first location that they got taken away from, and you have no idea what's going on in the back seat, besides the fact that we're back to acting like we're 5, 6, 7 years old, because that child, although 16, just went back to a place that was very disturbing in their life that they never resolved. And it's really, I think the best way to say it is looking at the human being and seeing someone hurting. And it's a very hard thing for us to do that, because we think, oh, we have the tools, you have the coping skills. We've done therapy so many years. But the things that these children endured are not simple, and it takes patience. And I think, though, the grit, the way that we undeniably and passionately work to serve them, shows them something they've never seen before.
Well, I know that you use equine therapy and other programs as well. Does that speak directly to instilling a caring element into the child?
So equine therapy brings so many different benefits, and also just the best way I can say it is just an awareness of how you're feeling in the moment, because that horse can sense everything you're feeling. So if you're afraid, that horse is going to be afraid of you. It's gonna want to take control of the situation. It's not going to trust you. If you want to go and approach that horse with some love and not be loud and scary around it, it's gonna see that you actually care for them. It's really building a relationship. And then you have to turn off your brain, really, and not think about the troubles of life for a moment. And you really get to connect with this horse that just needs you, and you just need them for that moment. And then your brain almost becomes addicted to those moments of healing and peace, because it starts to heal. And equine therapy is something that I personally experienced and helped save my life, because I needed a place to go and turn off the things that I had seen or the things that I was processing, and just be in that moment and present, and not worry about all the things that I had seen the day before, or the month that I was carrying, or the person that needed me, or whatever was happening at home. I was just able to be in that moment. And that's really what we're trying to help these kids do through all different types of therapy.
I have to ask, did you, since you came from that sort of situation, did you ever find the need to have to go back just to reinforce your feelings?
I have not come from a foster care or any background myself, but I think for me, the reinforcing of feelings just really comes to the place of what feelings are valid to you. Oftentimes we're told why we should feel a certain way, or what we should feel is safe, or what we should feel should hurt us, or what things we shouldn't let us bother. But we actually have to allow the things that do bother or make people happy feel those things. And so I think for a child in foster care, if something hurts them, we have to allow them.
No.
I didn't know they were coming here.
That's okay. That's okay.
So, anyways, they just got out of school and I guess they stopped by. So
Had to come see mommy.
had to come see mom. So, yeah. So allowing a child to feel the way they feel and giving them the space to feel it, whether we feel it's that valid or it needs that much a moment, it's something that's important to them and we should allow them to process it.
And processing is sometimes a very draining process.
That is, yes. And oftentimes when you process specific events in your life, it brings up things that you have suppressed. And so, you know, they have to confront things that they didn't necessarily even know were deep in that subconscious. And
how do they know? How do you know? How do both of you know when it's time for them to leave?
I think as far as graduating out of our program, our goal is to always find a child or a young girl family. You know, institutionalized care, foster care, group homes, that's never what is meant for a child. So many times these girls come into a home and they don't want to be adopted. But do you blame them? And so if we can help them heal and then we show them good mentors or good family structure, I mean, I don't see why a child wouldn't actually want that at the end of the day.
Sage advice. Brittany, we're out of time. Thank you for being a part of it. And let's talk again.
Thank you.
All right. That was Brittany Stokes, everybody. And we're all out of time for this edition of Perspectives. See you back next time. Be safe.